Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Liberal Mind Flayer, thanks for hanging out in the chat. Baloney, good to see you. Leah. Jack. All right, guys. So, we're still waiting for Joe to take the stage. About 5-10 minutes ago, they came out and they were. Is on here. Came out and they were adjusting the microphone. So, we'll see. See what happens. They were scheduled to come out a while ago. So, oh. I also just uploaded a video you guys can check out. Let's see. I have to wait for these things to ready up on YouTube's end here. Great. Okay, so I'm going to publish this. The video about what these judges are telling these GOP lawyers in some of these states. These GOP lawyers who are simply just bringing these bogus lawsuits to gum up the works. It's pretty interesting to hear what these judges have to say. Sweet. All right. Is this thing even live? Who knows? I'm not seeing any of the chat come through. Do have some viewers in here. See if it what actually happens here. Hey, Jack. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're live. Sweet. Awesome. Hey, Mr. Padura. Welcome in, welcome in. Now I just need to make sure that we're get some the metadata is not reset here. Let's see. Yep. Ooh. All right. Likey Tour. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, all right. Awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for liking the video. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Whew. We had a pretty fun live stream last night watching SpaceX and NASA launch 4 astronauts into space. They are going to be docking on board the International Space Station later this evening. It's about a 27-hour flight to the International Space Station, which I should be live streaming the docking as well. That's going to be fun to watch. The blast off was incredible. Night launch on time, went smoothly. It was great. So we're just waiting on Joe, waiting on Kamala. I think we're gonna, you know, their focus here is going to be getting over this pandemic as quickly as we can by adhering to CDC guidelines and tinkering with regulations and in from place to place, depending on how intense the infection rates are. And then I think he's also going to talk a little bit about moving into a green economy, because that's the direction that makes the most sense for our world and our nation's economy to move in. One that is a cleaner and safer one for us in the future. Let's see, I will link, because you guys are here, I will link the, yeah, awesome. Okay, we're getting some play. Here's the new video that I just released earlier. You guys want to take a look? Watch that one. Oh, and there's my Twitter handle. If you guys are on Twitter and you haven't followed me yet, you guys can also subscribe. Lanky Tour just signed up for a new membership. Awesome. Thank you, Lanky. Good to have you part of the team. Oh, all right. Still waiting. Still waiting. I'm wearing this shoulder brace that's supposed to keep my shoulders back. So if I look like I'm uncomfortable throughout this live stream, it's because I am. Whew. All right. Let's go, Joe. Let's go, man. What's happening on Twitter? So I posted one of my videos. I posted the video of Andrew McCabe. He was the temporary acting FBI director after James Comey was fired by Donald Trump because James Comey was investigating Michael Flynn and wouldn't listen to Donald Trump to just drop the Michael Flynn investigation. So Trump fired him. And in his place came Andrew McCabe. Andrew McCabe was there for a short time before the new director came in, but McCabe got to see all the evidence in the Mueller report. And what he says is that it is pretty bad. He used devastating and catastrophic to describe it. That's the evidence that we haven't seen yet because it's been classified at the highest of levels. Andrew McCabe actually said that he had never seen classification like this before. And Donald Trump is threatening, hey, I want to release this. I think we should release the Mueller evidence because it'll exonerate me. It'll prove that it was a witch hunt, when that's just not the case. So I posted that, and this was an interview that Andrew McCabe had on CNN with Cuomo. Now, that video has blown up on Facebook. It's got tens of thousands of views. I think the last time I checked it, it had like 30,000 views. But the comments are just disgusting. Like a ton of comments coming from these extreme right groups in Australia. The video must have been shared on one of their pages because, man, they are just like, they're going at it in the comments. One lady, I thought she was having a seizure in the comments. I'm gonna try to bring up her comments here. Completely agree with you, Padur. Yeah, that is a topic that, and really, I mean, we need to just ignore the politicization of it, because the only people who are arguing against a greener future are fossil fuel companies, and screw them because they put us in this position, right? So that video has 40,000 views, and yeah, let's just like look at some of these comments. Now, I've went and I've banned a bunch of users because of just how like wild their comments were, but they're commenting at like a minute ago, right? I mean, this video is blowing up. This video is going viral on Facebook. Let's see here. I want more comments. Let's see. We stretch this out. There we go. There we go. Bullshit media propaganda. Do you believe the shit that you spew out of your own mouth? I can't believe you could possibly be as dumb as you sound. Like, just these ad hominem attacks, right? Like, that's all these people have. But just a lot of these people watch Newsmax. See, man, like, no, dude. No, man. No, that's what gets you banned. Just no, man. Why can't I ban these comments, man? Facebook, come on now, guys. There's some. You're a joke. That's my favorite is when people who don't know the proper way to use your tell you how stupid you are. Shout the F up. You got no idea about what is about to unfold. Jeez. These people are just so disgusting. Uh oh, Latanya. There you go. I like that one. I'm with you. Scumbags. Oh my. You're scum. Oh man, these Trumpsters have just like turned America's dialogue into a sewer. Ugh. 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 Oh boy. Mm. All right, Joey, let's go, man. Let's go. Ulysses, welcome in. I am excited for this speech because this is gonna lay out the next 4 years, absolutely, but also this is like the direction of the Democratic Party, right? This is their leader coming up saying, I mean, he's gonna have to recognize what the liberal progressives of the party are trying to communicate with the world, and that's we need to move towards that Green New Deal and invest heavily in sustainable green infrastructure, which Barack Obama's stimulus in 2009 was the largest investment in solar, wind, and other renewable technologies that the world has ever seen. At least the United States. We do see China making uh, vast investments, large investments in wind in the northern regions of China, and that in and of itself is a huge uh, boon for China's economy to be self-sustainable, to not have to rely on shady foreign governments to for their resources, for their oil. So we're doing the same thing. That's just the way the world is moving. So I'm excited to hear what these guys have to say, because I think green technology is going to be pretty much the main focus of this speech. At least I hope it is. I hope it is. Yep. All right, we're still live. So that's also a good point I wanted to raise. While I'm posting this to Facebook, you guys can find the Facebook page over at RFLCTVID, Reflect Vid, with just no vowels and reflect, missing the E's. So, and that's a good place to, if you're on Facebook, that's a good place to follow the channel, so that you can get notified. If you're not following us on Twitter, then Facebook is a good spot, or YouTube. Subscribing to YouTube is also good. All right, let's hmm. And I'll put that up somewhere here. There we go. Ooh, yeah. Sweet. And Facebook? That's not right. There we go. All right, so people are starting to trickle in. Thank you guys for liking the video. Appreciate it. Now they're a little behind. I mean, there's really no breaking news happening, at least as far as I can tell. Um, I mean, I guess we can all hope that Donald Trump is actually on the phone with Joe Biden right now, saying, "You know what, Joey, look, I'll concede if you promise not to. If you promise me a pardon." It would actually not surprise me if that was actually happening. If Donald Trump was trying to use the election to use his concession to try to get Joe Biden to agree to pardon him. They're so shady. Whew. Still waiting. Boy, oh boy, guys. This is usually what happens at Donald Trump's press briefings, not Joe Biden's. Let's see if we have any news as to what's going on here. Amen, Chris. Amen. I don't think I could have said it better. Wow, so here's some news while we're waiting for these guys. So according to The Hill, let's see, Chuck Todd's tweet. Here it is. My goodness, The Hill, look at your pop-ups. Check out Chuck Todd's tweet. We invited every single Republican senator to appear here on Meet the Press this morning. They all declined. You know, we're so used to seeing Republicans being forced to give interviews, talk to the press, to excuse any one of the ridiculous things that Donald Trump has said over the years, the racist, the misogynistic, the divisive things that he said, and now they're just straight up disappearing. They're just not even coming forward because they know how disgusting Donald Trump's attempts to undermine the election and our democracy are. You really can't explain that away, you know, with oh well, you know, Donald Trump is just like his messaging is unclear. It's not really what he meant. That's exactly what he means. He means to undermine the United States, America, to undermine our democracy, to undermine the offices that those guys hold, how they won those offices, their vote counts, their own vote counts. It's just it's a sign that, well, Republicans aren't going to back Donald Trump anymore. He's pretty much losing his power, right? It's like that video I made the other day talking about like Bart Simpson, where he was, I didn't do it, how that became like his catchphrase. And then it got old real quick, right? Donald Trump is the I didn't do it, and he's getting old real quick. But what we can't forget, you guys, is all of the support and backing that these senators gave Donald Trump throughout the years, right? Like that's what this Republican Party is going to do. They're going to distance themselves real quick from Donald Trump, right? And we can't let them do that. And I don't think Joe Biden can let them do that. Like essentially, I think Joe Biden needs to pretty much time and time again, if these Republicans come at them saying, oh, we don't agree with, we don't want to move to a Green New Deal. You should be like, look, man, you gave us Donald Trump. You really have, like, how you shouldn't have any power. Like the fact that this party, right, the Republican Party, is going to keep power in the Senate it's unbelievable. These guys should not have any power. They should never have any power again. That's why Georgia is really important, right? So if you can donate what you can to the Georgia Democrats in that runoff, those senators. But back to Joe Biden, man, Joe, Kamala, like don't ever let them off the hook for Donald Trump and what they gave us. That needs to be held over their heads for the rest of their lives, I think. So that's a wild story. They're such cowards. Such cowards. Ugh. Ugh. You guys are gross. Republicans are gross. Whew. I don't know if I can say it any more clearly. Joey, where are you? So let's see here. Wow. You agree they are cowards? Yep. Yes, they are. Yeah, you know, that's what I'm afraid of too, is that if we don't get the Senate, it's just going to be nonstop battling with Mitch McConnell again, which, you know, Joe Biden can get some work done with executive orders, but Chris, I don't know if Trump has anything on Republican leaders. I think it's just a matter of I think it's just a matter of the the vote. You know, they had to back Donald Trump throughout the years because they needed his base to vote for him, and now they're a little unsure of how to play it from here on out. You know, what do we? It's money. Yep. Campaign donations. Yep. Yep. Oh, guys. All right. Hmm. Interesting. You guys have some really great comments on the video this morning about the judges and what they're saying. Let's go through. Let's pull down some of the comments here. Let's see what's going on. First, I need to, okay, make sure this video is up and running here. Ooh, ooh. Oh, I'm kind of out of the frame. I want to just put a hat on, you guys. Uh, Funky donkey. Yeah, that's a pretty, you guys are making some really good points. Yeah. Now let's see what we have here. Here we go. I like Terry White's comment. What a hot damn mess. That's essentially what this is, guys. It's designed to be that way. That's what these court challenges are designed to do. They're designed to just gum up that system, to just wreck it, so that Donald Trump can claim, you know, that they're fighting in the courts. He can raise money for his rallies that he wants to have, and so that he's gonna again like undermine our democracy. It's pretty simple what he's trying to do, and you know where these where these claims are coming from, why he's making these claims. It's because he does not like the American government. I mean, you have to remember, like, this guy has faced many lawsuits over the years, and so he just thinks that he's this real estate tycoon, you know, who, how dare you come at me with these lawsuits? I'm in my golden apartment. Just the way this guy's view of the world is, it's just so twisted. It's so twisted. Let's check back in. All right, they're still not here. Any go. He is definitely not a subscriber. He says, Dominion voting machine, hammer, and scorecard. Investigate. This is one of the Trump's talking points that he's been spouting for days, that this Dominion company, they've been rigging elections. They rigged this one. They're the company who like made some of the voting machines. No evidence, right? And that'd be pretty easy to come up with evidence for that, right? Like get a hold of a Dominion voting machine. Is it corrupted? Pretty easy. God is with Trump, according to Login Roberts. Not my God, man. Maybe your God. God is with Trump, just like everyone else, but Trump isn't with God unless he saves on his taxes. That's pretty funny. So ElaineArchibald, who's a longtime commenter and subscriber, says, the conspiracy that is happening with the election is crazy. Trump and his cronies are trying to fool the people again. It's sad that he has no limits. Crazy, made-up stories so that people will feel bad for him and send him money. Sure. He is corrupt and knows no other way but to fight with corruption. There's a time when he said he lost so much money by taking the job. Laugh out loud. Sure he did. And he kept filling his pockets and businesses with money and used all the taxpayers' money that he could and still can. Money is the only thing that matters to him. You're fired, Trump. Get over it. It is what it is. Lol. Elaine, thank you for your comments. This comment is from the 60 Minutes interview. Butana Griffith says we traded grass for weed, comparing Obama with the Trumps. Class versus trash. Thank you so much, President Obama, for your service. We miss you loads. Wish you can run again. Lots of love, I think, to the Obamas, I think is what she's trying to say. All right, so we also have some other commenters here. I have a theory that Trump and his band of deplorable know the election was rigged because he rigged it in his own favor. They didn't get him quite enough votes, though, because they didn't want it to look suspicious. He actually should have lost by the landslide that was predicted. I think this because he always shows his hand blaming the other for something he actually did, does, or thinks. Sandy, that is a that's a great point, because like who's gonna come out and say, well, yeah, there was election fraud, but it was all these dirty Republicans and Trump who were spearheading it. After they're the ones who, right? They're always the ones claiming, right, that like they're the most patriotic. We know Donald Trump is the furthest, right? The furthest thing from a patriot. He's a Manchurian candidate, right? The guy's a traitor to this nation. But if you ask him, it's, oh yeah, no, I'm the patriot, right? Same thing can be said about the voter fraud. I think it all goes back to, yeah, exactly what you said, Sandy, that the real voter fraud is probably coming from the Republicans, the shadiest party in American history. Florida guy says it's almost comical how predictable he is with gaslighting. We knew how this was going to play out because he was spreading the voter fraud narrative before the election even took place. Trump is his own worst enemy. Florida guy, I completely agree with you on that one. And I've said this numerous times in videos, that the guy just loves to shoot himself in the foot, right? When he was talking about going up against Joe Biden, right? he was talking about how, you know, in these debates, he was going on and on about how Joe Biden is going to be sleepy, how he's not going to be entertaining. And you're not supposed to do that, right? You don't set the bar low so it's easy for your opponent to clear. You set it high so that it takes quite a bit for them to clear that. Donald Trump, time and time again, shooting himself in the foot. Florida guy. Yes, midwit. I can get behind this. Yep, me too. Robert Rogers, outstanding episode. Thank you. The sooner the better that vile dictator wannabe is thrown out of the White House like the garbage that he is proven himself to be. Yep, sooner the better, man. Jack, you're in the comments. I miss Obama. Oh, man. Wow. Yeah. So we're still getting comments on the Justice video, but I wanted to share those with you because I thought that was pretty interesting. A lot of people are saying that, look, it's actually, you know, these Republicans who are the ones who are going out and doing this. We're also getting some comments on the Chuck Todd video, which is good. Haunted by the Truth, longtime commenter and subscriber, says Republicans seem to forget that they all got beat by Trump in 2016. The runoffs up to the general election, remember when they all told the truth about him? Suckers all. Yup. Book bewitched. Maybe they are being raptured, arrested, flushed, or otherwise detained. Shit. Damn, caps lock sucks. Oh, I'm just having this like image of Book Bewitched like wrestling with his with his keyboard. Whew. So thank you guys for commenting. That's probably the most fun I get with all these videos is reading and responding to comments as they come in. So if you're new to the channel, there's a couple ways that you can connect. The easiest is to subscribe to the channel so you get notifications whenever I put out videos. Some videos, like the video that the latest release is from the live stream. I just like clipped up a little part of that, but most of them are filmed in my little studio here. You can also follow me on Twitter at Brendan Plank. I'm also on Instagram at Brendan R. Plank. It sounds like, here we go. We got Kamala on. Let's rewind this a little bit so we can hear what she says. And then if you want to also become a member for it's just a couple bucks a month, I thought that'd be a way that, you know, people can feel as they're part of the channel. You'll see Liberal Mind Flayer, who was in here earlier. His screen name is green, and you get that when you become a member. I'm also going to be releasing videos. I'm also going to be releasing videos a little early for members. Okay, so let's get this. There we go. I need to turn the sound on here. Come on. Talking. I got the sound coming for you guys.
About the impact that this pandemic has had on workers, especially essential workers, frontline workers, who have risked their own health and the health of their families, and many whom have given their own lives to keep us safe and keep our economy running. And we all know that this pandemic and this recession have hit communities of color particularly hard. Black Americans and Latinos are 3 times as likely to contract COVID as others and more likely to die. Native Americans are more than 4 times as likely to be hospitalized as others. And last month, the unemployment rate for Black Americans was almost twice the rate of others. And we have also had a conversation about the impact this pandemic has had on our economy as a whole, from the Fortune 500 to the small businesses that so many communities rely on. Over the past few months, on the campaign trail, the President-elect and I saw that impact firsthand. In state after state, we met with workers who shared their struggles and told us about their pain. Essential workers who have had to stay on the job, even as they worry about their family's well-being and their own. Small business owners who are dipping into their own savings to make payroll and keep their doors open. And many others who have had to close their doors and fear never reopening at all. Their stories have stayed with us, and the President-elect and I are focused on building our country back better for them and all Americans. And as I said the night we won this election, now is when the real work begins, the necessary work, the good work of getting this virus under control, saving lives, and beating this pandemic, and opening our economy responsibly while rebuilding it so that it works for working people. And we will do it by protecting the health and safety of our workers and creating millions of good-paying union jobs, from auto and construction jobs to domestic workers and caregiving jobs to service and hospitality jobs. The road ahead, it will not be easy, but the President-elect and I are hitting the ground running because we all know the challenges facing America today are great. The American people deserve no less, and we don't have a moment to waste. And now it is my incredible and great honor to introduce our President-elect, Joe Biden.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Vice President Harris and I, as she indicated, just met with a group of America's top business leaders and labor leaders. And I must tell you, it reinforced what I thought from the beginning. We're ready to come together. The unity was astounding. I want to go back and talk about the people who actually participated in that. I'm going to list all the people who, just so you know who we spoke with. Number one, there was Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors, Brian Cornell, CEO of Target, Mr. Nadell, CEO of Microsoft, Rory Gamble, President of the UAW, Mary Kay Henry, President of SEIU, Mark Perrone, President of the UFCW, Lee Saunders, President of AFSCME, and Sonia Singhal, President of GAP, Richard Trumka, President of the AFL-CIO. It was really encouraging, quite frankly, to get people, business and labor, together, agreeing on the way forward, which I'm convinced the American people will be ready to do when they hear what we have in mind. And I'm very pleased that they all came together around the same table to advance areas of common ground, and we agreed we're going to continue these conversations. They represent very different perspectives, but I'm convinced that we can all come together around the same table to advance areas of common ground, which are really, I wish you could have all heard the conversation. It was really encouraging. And that's what we were ready to discuss today. We all agreed that we want to get the economy back on track. We need our workers to be back on the job by getting the virus under control. We're going into a very dark winter. Things are going to get much tougher before they get easier. And that requires sparing no effort to fight COVID so that we can open our businesses safely, resume our lives, and put this pandemic behind us. It's going to be difficult, but it can be done. And they all agreed. That means rallying the country behind a national strategy with robust public health measures like mandatory masking, widely available testing with rapid results, scaled-up production of life-saving treatments and therapeutics, and safe, equitable, and free distribution of the vaccine. It's great news that Moderna and Pfizer have each come up with vaccines that are in excess of 90% effectiveness. And getting the vaccine and a vaccination, though, are two different things. Everyone on our call today and our Zoom today agreed that the sooner we have access to the administration's distribution plan, the sooner this transition would be smoothly moved forward. And, you know, as we battle COVID, we also make sure the business and workers have the tools, the resources, the national guidance, and health and safety standards to operate safely. And we can do that. We can bring Democrats and Republicans together, work with business and labor to deliver those necessary resources. And for millions of Americans who've lost hours and wages or have lost their jobs, we all agreed on our call that we can deliver immediate relief and it need be done quickly. Affordable health care for millions of people who have lost it or are in danger of losing it. Child care, sick leave, family leave, so workers don't have to choose between work and family. Corporate America agreed on this today, the folks on the call. We need support to support small businesses and entrepreneurs that are the backbone of our communities, but are teetering on the edge. And we all agreed on the urgent need for funding for states and localities to keep frontline workers and essential workers on the job. Vital public services, running law enforcement offices, educators, first responders, like we did in the Recovery Act of 2009, saving literally millions of jobs. There's a reason why the federal government is able to run a deficit, because the states must balance their budgets, and they're in real trouble. You're going to see hundreds of thousands of police officers, firefighters, first responders, mental health clinics. You're going to see them going out of business. Right now, Congress should come together and pass a COVID relief package like the HEROES Act that the House passed 6 months ago. Once we shut down the virus and deliver economic relief to workers and businesses, then we can start to build back better than before. We talked about how we have an opportunity to come out of this stronger, more resilient than we were when we went in. And I wish you could have heard corporate leaders and the major labor leaders singing this from the same hymnal here. Throughout the campaign, I laid out my Build Back Better plan. We laid out our plan. That an independent analysis put out by Moody's, a well-respected Wall Street firm, projected would create 18.6 million jobs. We talked about the need to own the electric vehicle market. We talked about climate a lot, building 550,000 charging stations.
Good job.
Creating over 1 million good-paying union jobs here at home. The need for a federal government to invest more in clean energy research. You know, it's based on a simple premise. It's time to reward work, not just wealth in America. We're going to have a fair tax structure that makes sure the wealthiest among us and corporations pay their fair share. Our plan will create millions of good-paying union jobs in manufacturing, building the vehicles, products, technologies that we're going to need for the future to compete with the rest of the world. From autos to our stockpiles, we're going to buy American. No government contract will be given to companies that don't make their products here in America. To secure our position as a global leader in research and development, we're going to invest $300 billion in the most critical, competitive new industries and technologies, creating 3 million good-paying jobs. And the corporate American technology firms like Microsoft on the call, they all agreed. We can make sure our future is made here in America. And that's good for business, and it's good for American workers. We can also modernize our infrastructure. Roads, bridges, ports. 1.5 million new affordable housing units. High-speed broadband we talked about for every American household, which is more important than ever for remote learning, remote working, telemedicine in the 21st century. Building a digital infrastructure to help businesses, healthcare workers, first responders, and students. $100 billion to rebuild our crumbling schools. They talked about the need, the business community talked about the need to invest in HBCUs and community colleges. Retrofitting 4 million new buildings our old building, retrofitting and making them new, weatherizing 2 million homes, building more climate-resilient cities and towns. These investments will specifically target communities of colors so we can break the cycle where in good times they lag, and in bad times they get hit first and the hardest, and in recovery, it's the toughest to bounce back. These are the kinds of investments that are going to strengthen our economy and our competitiveness, create millions of jobs, union jobs, and in doing so, we'll respect the dignity of work and empower the voice of workers. You've heard me say it before. My dad, when he lost his job in Scranton, eventually moved to Wilmington and got a good job. He'd say, Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity, respect, your place in the community. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, everything's going to be okay. When we build back better, we'll do so with higher wages, including a $15 minimum wage nationwide, better benefits, stronger collective bargaining rights that you can raise a family on. That's how we build back the middle class better than ever. That's how we make sure workers are treated with the dignity and respect they deserve. I can go on. I can tell I was very encouraged by our conversation. But the point is this. There's so much we can do. The only way we do any of this is if we work together. I know we can do this. For example, on the call, I made it clear to the corporate leaders. I said, I want you to know I'm a union guy. Unions are going to have increased power. They just nodded. They understand. It's not anti-business. It's about economic growth, creating good paying jobs. 11 years ago, when Barack and I took office during the Great Recession and implemented the Recovery Act that saved us from another Great Depression, we didn't see a map in red and blue states. It was the United States of America. We didn't care whether the city had voted for us or against us. The state voted for us or against us. We worked with everyone, and we recovered and rebuilt together as one nation. We can do this again. The refusal of Democrats and Republicans to cooperate with one another is not due to some mysterious force beyond our control. It's a conscious decision. It's a choice that we make. If we can decide not to cooperate, then we can decide to cooperate. I believe this is in part the mandate from the American people, part of the mandate they gave us. They want us to cooperate. They want us to deliver results. And the choice that Kamala and I will make is that we're going to do that. That's why I'm so pleased today we were able to bring together business and labor leaders to make the choice jointly with us. We're all Americans. Now let's get to work. As I've said many times, thank you, may God bless you, and may God protect our troops. I understand now I'm going to take some questions. Megan, fire away.
Thank you, President-elect Biden, Vice President-elect.
Look in the wrong direction, sorry.
Good to see you. I want to start with a question about your pandemic planning and then a question about your economic plan. You spoke about the need to access the outgoing administration's COVID vaccine distribution plans. What do you see as the biggest threat to your transition right now, given President Trump's unprecedented attempt to obstruct and delay a smooth transfer of power?
More people may die if we don't coordinate. Look, as my Chief of Staff, Ron Klain, would say, who handled Ebola, a vaccine is important. It's of little use until you're vaccinated. So how do we get the vaccine? How do we get over 300 million Americans vaccinated? What's the game plan? It's a huge, huge, huge undertaking to get it done, prioritize those greatest in need, and working our way through it, and also cooperate with the World Health Organization and the rest of the world in dealing with this. And so they say they have this warp speed program that not only dealt with getting vaccines, but also how to distribute this. If we have to wait until January 20th to start that planning, it puts us behind over a month, month and a half. And so it's important that it be done, that there be coordination now or as rapidly as we can get that done.
On the economy, the Vice President-elect talked about having an economy that works for working people. One thing I didn't hear you talk specifically about is canceling student loan debt. Does student loan forgiveness figure in your plan? Would you take executive action to achieve it?
It does figure in my plan. I've laid out in detail. For example, the legislation passed by the Democratic House calls for immediate $10,000 forgiveness of student loans. It's holding people up. They're in real trouble. They're having to make choices between paying their student loan and paying their rent, those kinds of decisions. It should be done immediately. In addition to that, as you know, I think that everything from community college straight through to doubling Pell Grants to making sure that we have access, free education for anyone making under $125,000 for 4 years of college. And there is a program that exists now under the law that forgives student loans for being able to engaging in public service. I'm going to institute that fundamental change in that so it's able to be available to everyone that in fact is engaged. It's not being very well managed right now. So I'm going to do all of those things. Thank you.
So real quick there, that was great for Biden to pretty much come out and swing for the fences pretty much right away, saying, look, if Donald Trump doesn't help us coordinate with this, with my administration's response to the pandemic, then it's going to be harder and people are going to die, right? Like, Joe Biden is not holding back. But just what a crappy position we're in. That Donald Trump, no one has any faith in him. And so we would be happy if he just allowed Biden's staff to just have the information so that they could save people's lives. And he won't even do that, right? He can't even help to save Americans' lives. Like, Donald Trump should be working his ass off right now, not going and playing golf, right? But he should be working his ass off to bring this pandemic to a close. He's never done that. But he still has time in office. And we don't even have the faith in him that he can even help Joe Biden save lives, right? Like, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Thank you, Mr. President-elect. You just spoke of some of the dangers of the president's continued stonewalling of this transition, but it doesn't appear that the president is going to come around anytime soon and admit defeat. So what are you going to do? What options do you have to try and ensure that you are ready to go on day one?
Deal with every individual organization in the country, from business to labor, Republicans and Democrats, to try to pull together a serious and consistent plan. So we're ready on day one, everything from staffing to ultimately naming cabinet members to moving along on coordinating with business and labor the COVID attack, how we're going to attack COVID. And so it would make it a lot easier if the president were to participate. You have a number of Republicans suggesting that. The good news here is my colleague is still in the Intelligence Committee, so she gets the intelligence briefings. I don't anymore. So that is, but there's a number of Republicans calling for that. I am hopeful that the president will be mildly more enlightened before we get to January 20th.
And what is your message to Republicans who are backing up the president's refusal to concede? You clearly need to work with them going forward.
My message is, I will work with you. I understand a lot of your reluctance because of the way the president operates, but I've been in contact with and will be in contact with more of them as we move along. And if it has to wait until January 20th to actually become operational, that's a shame, but maybe that's the only way to get it done. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President-elect. And I want to kind of piggyback off of that. I want to get your thoughts on the president's tweet over the weekend where he first seemed to acknowledge that you won. Then he said he won't concede. Then he said, I won. How did you interpret that? And at the end of the day, do you want him to concede?
I interpret that as Trumpianism. No change in his modus operandi. I think the pressure will continue to build. Look, I'm having a lot of meetings with world leaders on the telephone. I cannot get into negotiating with them about things that are going to be done, but they're calling with some degree of enthusiasm. Everyone from the Holy Father to prime ministers across the globe. And so we're moving along knowing what the outcome will be. And as I said earlier, and I probably shouldn't repeat it, but I find this more embarrassing for the country than debilitating for my ability to get started.
And then secondly, I want to follow up with you on the vaccine. If the FDA gives emergency authorization to the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine in the coming weeks, will you get vaccinated? And if you're hesitant, why should any American have confidence in the vaccine?
Well, first of all, we'll see if that comes forward. And secondly, it's important that people who are in the greatest need get it. I wouldn't hesitate to get the vaccine. But I also want to set an example. But I wouldn't hesitate to get the vaccine if, in fact, Dr. Fauci and these two organizations, whether it's Moderna or Pfizer, who have been extremely responsible, conclude that it is safe and able to be done. Look, the only reason people question the vaccine now is because of Donald Trump. That's the reason why people are questioning the vaccine, because all the things he says and doesn't say, whether is it truthful, is it not truthful, the exaggerations. I think.
And that's on both sides too, right? Like Donald Trump, his base is full of anti-vaxxers, and then you have people, you know, like all of us, who are incredibly suspicious of a vaccine coming out under the Trump administration.
We're on a clear path now. We're on a clear path where the international community and national leaders in the scientific community have focused on these two vaccines. They appear to be ready for prime time, ready to be used. And if that continues along those roads, I would take the vaccine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President-elect. You have been urging the American public to continue practicing social distancing and wearing a mask, but with cases skyrocketing across the country, do you think that more governors should be closing non-essential businesses and reinstating stay-at-home orders?
Look, it depends on the state. What I failed to mention earlier is the enormous respect I have for conservative Republican governors who stepped up and issued mandates for wearing masks. In North Dakota, the idea, one of the leaders in this area has been the Republican governor in Ohio. In addition to the folks who've already been leading, like the governor of Michigan. The idea that the president's now existing, remaining advisor on COVID is saying that they should resist. What the hell's the matter with these guys? What is the matter with them? Resist. Every major individual of any consequence in the health field is saying we can save 100,000 lives just between now and January 21st by wearing these masks. It's going to take a while for the vaccine to be able to be available, distributed, and get to people.
Good for you, man.
We're talking about 350 to 400,000 people dying? What are they doing? It's totally irresponsible. Irresponsible. And so I compliment the governors who stepped forward, who have been stepping forward, but also the Republican governors who stepped forward. I left out the governor of Utah, very conservative state, governor of North Dakota, and all the Democratic governors have been doing it all along. I just ask a rhetorical question. Do you guys understand this? Does anybody understand why a governor would turn this into a political statement? It's about patriotism. It's about being patriotic. It's about saving lives, for real. This is not hyperbole. It's about being patriotic. And I think you're seeing more and more as this god-awful virus continues to spread almost unabated, that that governors are stepping up.
And just following up on that, especially with many states reporting new highs in terms of the daily number of cases and a lot of public health officials sounding the alarm over the holidays, what is your message to people who are considering, for example, getting together with their families and others for Thanksgiving? Would you urge people to reconsider their plans?
Well, here's what I'd do. Let me tell you what the health experts have said to me. And it's not because I'm unique and president-elect, it's because of my family. They strongly urge that if, in fact, we're going to have Thanksgiving with anyone, that we limit it to a maximum. They suggest 5 people, maximum 10 people, socially distanced wearing masks, and people who have quarantined. So Jill and I spent this morning, like many of you, trying to figure out what are we going to do for Thanksgiving? How are we going to do it? And we've narrowed down which family members and that they were tested, recently tested within 24 hours. And so I would strongly urge, for the sake, not just your sake, for the sake of your children, your mother, your father, your sisters, your brothers, whoever you get together at Thanksgiving, think about this. There should be no group more than 10 people in one room. Inside the homes. That's what they're telling me. They're telling me they're, making sure that that's the case. And I have the more potent mask behind this one. I took it off when I came out here. I wear it inside this. That to be masked. It saves lives. And so, look, I just want to make sure that
he's talking about an N95
we're
mask,
able to be together
if you have access
next Thanksgiving.
To an N95, please wear that one.
Next Christmas.
Instead of a cloth mask
it is an international crisis.
The ones
it's an international health crisis.
Most protected.
And the idea, we're at war with the virus. And it is, we're at war, for real. And all kidding aside, I hope all of you, I've watched you all seem to wear masks all the time when you're, and the group that follows me, that is here, follows me, that is assigned to Delaware with me, seem to do that. I strongly urge you to do it. There's nothing macho about not wearing a mask.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President-elect, Madam Vice President-elect. Your plan, my mask is stuck in my ear in classic. Hold on a second. Demonstrating
I watched
for
Jill
America.
try to take it off.
Yes.
It's hard. Thank God I don't have an earring.
Your plan that you've outlined just now about 1 million union jobs, clean energy jobs, investments in HBCUs, those are things that take time. We have a problem with long-term unemployment that's growing fast right now. What would you do right away, specifically, to address jobs that may not return for months, may not return ever, including in communities of color?
What I would do, I would pass the HEROES Act. It has all the money and capacity to take care of each of those things. Now, not tomorrow, now. And the idea the president is still playing golf and not doing anything about it is beyond my comprehension. You'd at least think he'd want to go off on a positive note. But what is he doing? And there's virtually no discussion. And the Republican, we're told, I don't know if it's true. You may know, Senator, but there's 22 Republicans say they won't vote for anything. Well, there ought to be at least a dozen of them have the courage to stand up and save lives and jobs now. We should be doing it now, keeping those businesses open, providing the PPE, the protective equipment, as well as the PPP, the money that we allow people to get funding to keep their businesses open, everything from separation to testing to a whole range of things that allow businesses to open and stay open. That's what the plan was at the beginning. And by the way, if you notice in the very beginning, when they passed the stimulus program, the first 2 pieces, what happened? businesses were staying open. And then when they weren't open, they were still able to make people able to get paid. But look where they are now. People are running out of unemployment insurance. What are they going to do? 20 million people are on the verge of losing their home because they can't make a mortgage payments. You have a larger number being kicked out and will be kicked out in the street because they can't pay their rent. And by the way, it's not just the renter, it's the outfit that owns the building. A lot of them aren't multimillionaires, they're running small operations. How can they do it? This is about keeping Americans afloat. Get them through this pandemic. Get them through where their businesses are able to come back. The money's there. The money is there.
And also on the economic front, as we fight the pandemic, world trade continues, and there is great debate over world trade agreements, international trade agreements. It seems that in the last couple of days, 15 countries, Asian, Pacific countries, have signed onto a new trade deal, the RCEP.
Taking plenty of questions.
Should the United States consider joining that trade agreement?
I've talked with a number of these world leaders, and I told them, under the law, I'm not able to begin to discuss with them. There's only one president at a time as to who can say what our policy will be. So I'm reluctant to answer that question now, but here's what I can say. We make up 25% of the world's trading capacity, of the economy of the world. We need to be aligned with the other democracies, another 25% or more, so that we can set the rules of the road instead of having China and others dictate outcomes because they are the only game in town. And so, but what I'm insisting on, and what I've been asked by world leaders as to what I would do, without getting into detail, I've said, but I want you to know that there are three things that are going to happen if I'm elected. One, we're going to invest in American workers and make them more competitive. Number two, we're going to make sure that labor is at the table and environmentalists are at the table in any trade deals we make. And I'm not looking for punitive trade. The idea that we are poking our finger in the eyes of our friends and embracing autocrats makes no sense to me. And so, but I'm reluctant to get into more detail at this moment. I promise you I have a pretty thorough plan, and I will be prepared to announce that to you on January 21st.
You have indicated changes you want to make in U.S. international policy on other fronts, like the Paris climate.
Yes, that's a generic notion of rejoining, but I didn't get into the detail of what we'll do in that agreement. The same thing with rejoining the World Health Organization.
But why not here?
Because you're asking me about whether I join a specific proposal, the details of which are now only being negotiated among those nations. It would require a negotiation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's it.
Appreciate it.
When Joe gets told it's time to go, it's time to go. I mean, look, I mean, that's pretty much what, that is the next president there for you, and I couldn't be more proud of him. Look, I mean, let's see what's going on here. Get out of that. I mean, again, like, the bar has been set so low by this administration that, you know, Joe Biden just simply coming out talking about how people are struggling, right? Which was great that he got into that at the end there, because I think that's kind of what a lot of us were kind of waiting for him to talk about is the stimulus, is you know, what's going to happen with American families who can't pay their mortgages, who are struggling to put you know, groceries on the table. Look, like, did Joe Biden come out and say how much people are going to get? No. Did he talk about a green economy as much as I would have liked him to? No. But what we're seeing here is that Joe Biden is simply just reminding people that he is ready to get to work, right? that he has a plan, and that it's one that's not just I'm going to use the economy to strengthen my own shot at re-election, which, you know, we really haven't talked much about, but like, is Joe Biden going to run again in 2024? And does he need to just flat out come out and say, you know, now that he's president-elect, like, look, I'm not going to run again. So the idea that, like, I'm doing this for my own personal good is bogus, which there are some pitfalls there with governing, because you're taking away the, you know, the power of the second term. But overall, I mean, I thought that was just, again, it's just a refreshing speech. It's just nice to hear Joe Biden, a man with empathy and compassion, talk about American families the way that they deserve to be talked about. Donald Trump does not understand American families. Donald Trump doesn't understand American workers. He only understands how to con them. And that's, you know, if you want to boil it down, that's what this has been, right? Just one big con. Unfortunately, more than 70 million Americans are still falling for it. So that was my coverage of Joe Biden's speech. Thank you guys for coming and checking it out. Like the video before you go. If you're new, you can subscribe. If you want to help me make more videos, have better live streams, you can join, become a member where you'll get early access to videos, and we'll be able to communicate. I'm just going to have a member-only session for some of the videos that I post from here on out. You can also follow me on Twitter. Here's my handle down below. The newest subscriber, Jason Valentino, welcome. And Lanky Tor, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you, Lanky. That is huge. Below that is the Reflect News, the page on Facebook that you guys can go like if you need to get any notifications over there. That's going to do it for me. I'm going to be back later to watch the International Space Station docking tonight with the new shuttle that was launched last night. You can, the live stream is pretty cool. I started it just a few minutes before the rocket launch. So if you just want to watch the launch of the rocket, it's the first few minutes of the live stream from last night. So if you guys, the coverage, I believe, is supposed to start at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. West Coast, my time. So I'll be on around then. And I look forward to seeing you guys. I also put some merchandise. Yeah, Baloney, SpaceX. I also put some merchandise up. I have some really cool new gear out that I'm going to start. I have it being shipped to me. I'm going to start rocking that in the videos. And then I'm also going to do probably some giveaways to members of that merchandise pretty soon here. So yeah, so sign up to become a member if you haven't yet. Definitely subscribe because that's the easiest way to stay in touch with the channel. All right, guys, I will see you tonight for the docking of the Falcon rocket to the International Space Station. Thank you guys for watching.